There were 3 Punic Wars in total in Rome's history, and they all fell in the dates between 264 to 146 BCE. The First Punic War began in 264 due to Carthage and Rome both wanting to control Sicily. Rome was far more experienced on land battles, whereas the Carthaginians had a very powerful navy. And the Rome's navy at this time was non-existent. They did not have a fleet and they were inexperienced in naval battle. Despite their lack of sea knowledge, the Romans began to construct a large fleet, and they also developed the corvus, which basically connected the enemy ships to their ship so that they can emulate like a land battle at sea. Whereas the Carthaginians were led by Hamilcar Barca, who they relied on to win the wars, and because of this they didn't really focus on their tactical battles and just left it all to Hamilcar to do the work. So in 241 BCE, Carthage ended up surrendering because their fleet was defeated by the Romans. The Second Punic War is basically the best known war out of the 3 Punic Wars, and this took place in 218 to 201 BC. And the Carthaginians were led by Hamilcar Barca's youngest son, Hannibal. It began in 218 because Hannibal decided to capture Saguntum, which was an ally of Rome. Rome demanded that Hannibal either surrender or face war, and Hannibal, of course, chose war. Hannibal decided to cross the Italian Alps with elephants, and he led his army against Rome, winning several battles such as the Battle of Trebia, the Battle of Lake Chasmin, and the Battle of Cannae. Because of their defeats, Rome decided to veer their objectives elsewhere and decided to invade Africa and Spain. Because of this forced Hannibal to leave Italy, and eventually Hannibal was defeated by the Roman general Scipio Africanus in 201 BC. Because of the Second Punic War, Carthage lost all its claims to Spain and all the islands connecting the two nations. It lost most of its naval power, and it also had to pay towards Rome for the next 50 years and could not go to war without Rome's approval. Lastly, the Third Punic War in 149 to 46 ended in Carthage's destruction. In the period before the Third Punic War, Carthage had recovered financially from the Second War, nearly finished paying tribute to Rome. Although they decided to have a military dispute with Numidia, and Rome was angered by this and demanded that Carthage pay for going to war without Rome's consent. The Romans demanded 300 hostages of noble families from Carthage. They also demanded they hand over weapons and armor, and they also demanded that all inhabitants move inland so the city could be burnt. Carthage refused, and so in 149, they endured a 3-year-long siege until 146 when Carthage finally fell. Because of the Third Punic War, this made Rome the biggest city in the Mediterranean, the most powerful city in the Mediterranean. They defeated their biggest rival, and thus they dominated the region.